All right, welcome back to Myrna and Jenn Read the Apocrypha.
Hello.
We are on chapter 2. Yeah, hi. Sorry. We're on chapter 2 of Jubilee.
Yes.
But first, again, we want to share something about ourselves. Now,
yes, we do.
Jenn and I have done some speed puzzling contests.
Oh, that's true.
Okay?
We have.
And we kind of have a favorite. We each kind of have a favorite company that makes puzzles. So, Jenn, share what your favorite company is.
Wow. Really, if it comes to like graphic and the way the puzzle pieces feel and go together, it's Art and Fable. It's not a really known company, but I'm telling you, you feel that piece of puzzle and you just want to just put it on your skin. It feels so soft and velvety that you're just like, what am I holding in my hand? Oh my gosh. I see an Art and Fable puzzle and I just pick up a piece and I'm like, because when you do a lot of puzzling, it really, you do start to understand how every puzzle brand has a different feel to it.
Exactly.
It's a baby's butt.
Yeah. Now I forgot
the name.
Is it Cobble Creek?
Oh yeah, Cobble Creek.
Cobble Creek is my favorite.
Really?
I love.
Hey,
they're thick,
that's a random
they're
cut.
thick pieces. They're thick pieces.
Oh, they are.
Yeah. They're not. They don't have like your standard people shaped pieces, right? They're random pieces, and they seem to be a little bit more of a challenge. I'm not sure they would be great in a competition.
Yeah.
But when it's just yourself doing the puzzle, it seems to be a little more challenging to me because the pieces are like random.
Yeah. Okay. I didn't know you were such a Cobble Creek fan. That's awesome.
Yeah, I like them. And well, what's that other one? Rudenbacher? No.
Ravensburger.
Ravensburger. It's good.
You find them at Barnes and Nobles.
Yeah, you find those everywhere. They're really, really popular. They're easy to obtain, right? And I think that's what a lot of people like. But
yeah, they fit really well. Yeah,
we've had our time trying different ones, and so
we have.
Yeah,
it's true. I will go in, and if there's a store and they sell puzzles, if there's a brand that I have not put together before, I will buy it. I'm doing one right now by a company called Hearts, and a bunch of their proceeds in the puzzles actually go to like charitable organizations for like Alzheimer's research and all those types of things. And it's a random. No, it's not really a random cut. But it is more difficult because it's big and it's a lot of tractors. And I'm finding with a lot of tractors and grass, it's a little difficult.
Yeah.
But I like it so far. So you just never know.
It's challenging when you have a lot of the same colors.
Right? Yes. And because I'm a tad bit colorblind, news flash, sometimes puzzles are hard for me.
Yeah. But we love doing puzzles, and
we do.
Yeah, we need to do some more competitions, girl. It's been
we
a little
do.
Bit.
We do. The thing is out where I am, the place that I was going, they started to get a lot of foursomes, and so and I just don't have other people out here. But they also started to have all of them on Sundays instead of Saturdays.
Oh, okay.
And that's where the puzzle exchanges are. And I'll be honest out there, I still am trying to figure out puzzle competition on a Sunday. I don't know what I think about that.
Yeah. I get it.
I'm
I
waiting.
get it.
So,
yeah. So there you go. There you go. Something new about
that's
us.
us.
So if any of you are having a puzzle competition, put it down in the notes. Let us know so we can see if we can come, because that would be a
Oh,
lot of fun.
yeah, that
We
would
would
be so
love to
much
do
fun.
that. We would love to do
Uh-huh.
that. So while we're going along here, please like our videos. That
Yes.
helps make it so that more people can find us and can hear about some of these apocrypha things. And comment, and let's have a discussion on what is in these writings that we don't get to pay attention to as much because they're not in the standard works. But I think they have some really important things for us to put into our knowledge and understand the people in the Bible in a way that we don't, because we're missing a lot of stuff. Because I see when we just kind of did Adam and Eve, and I see Eve a little different than I did before because of some of the information that you glean from reading that. So make comments and let's have a discussion. So let's go on to chapter 2 of the Book of Jubilees. Jen, why don't you go ahead
and start us off?
Start us off.
Okay.
Let's do chapter 2. Let's do 2 every time.
Yeah, okay. And the angel of the presence spake to Moses according to the word of the Lord, saying, write the complete history of the creation, how in 6 days the Lord God finished all his works and all that he created, and kept Sabbath on the 7th day, and hallowed it for all ages, and appointed it as a sign for all his works. For on the 1st day he created the heavens which are above, and the earth and the waters, and all the spirits which serve before him, the angels of the presence, and the angels of sanctification, and the angels of the spirit of fire, and the angels of the spirit of the winds, and the angels of the spirit of the clouds, and of darkness, and of snow, and of hail, and of hoarfrost, and the angels of the voices, and of the thunder, and of the lightning, and the angels of the spirits of cold and of heat, and of winter and of spring, and of autumn and of summer, and of all the spirits of his creatures, which are in the heavens and on the earth. He created the abysses and the darkness, eventide and night, and the light, dawn and day, which he hath prepared in the knowledge of his heart. Okay, I'm just going to say we have this phrase again, angel of the presence.
Go ahead.
I've never heard that phrase before, angel of the presence, until the Book of Jubilees, which I find an interesting phrase. And I haven't ever thought about all of these things listed, the clouds and darkness and thunder, and that he's attributing all of that to actual like spirits, that there are angels out there that are in control of it, I guess. Interesting.
Yeah. So because I'm not as book learner as you are.
I don't know about that.
I just looked up the word presence. So we have the angel of the presence. And is that being used? That is being used as a description or as a noun? I don't know. It says that it's a noun, and it says it's the state or fact of existing, occurring, or being present in a place or thing.
Okay.
Oh, and then it also has another definition called a group of people, especially soldiers or police, stationed in a particular place. That might fit the definition a little bit better.
I did not know that
So
was
maybe
a definition for presence.
maybe that's an angel of that space.
Right.
Does that make sense? I don't know.
Right.
I wanted to look into that because we read that last week, and it kind of, I'm not really great with languages, definitions of some words that you don't use all the time. So I think that's interesting.
So according
I kind of like that.
to a little search here, and this is just a wiki search, a Wikipedia search, angel of the presence.
Okay.
There are considered 7 of them: Michael, Gabriel, Uriel, Chamuel, Raphael, Jophiel, and Zadkiel. So,
did you put in the angels of the present or presence?
Presence. Angel of the presence. So, in some Christian traditions, there are 7 of them, and that's who they are considered.
That's interesting because most Christian writings talk about the 5 angels of the Bible. And that's Michael, Raphael, Uriel, and
Gabriel.
Gabriel. Yeah. So
yeah,
that's interesting.
So
but I have to say
that's early Christian tradition.
I think we could get rid of the angels of the spirits of cold. I think we can drop the cold right off the earth.
Okay, and I'm gonna say I don't care
I get
for
cold
the heat.
too easy.
I'm gonna say heat because you live in a cold state. I live in a hot state, and I think we should just have moderation.
I think I agree with that. Or if you didn't live in such a crazy state, we would just switch. But I won't go to your state.
I know you won't, and that's okay.
That's all good. It's all good.
That's all
good. I'm not. I'm not a fan
but
of
not stay. Yeah, you'll
absolutely.
visit my
I'll
state,
visit,
but not stay. I get it.
Absolutely, I'll visit, but I'm not a fan of cold. I get cold too easy. I just don't like it. Anyway, so but I think that's interesting that we have angels assigned to all of these things.
Yeah.
And there's a difference. It's the angels of the spirit of something, of the wind, of fire, but it's an angel of the spirit. I don't know what that really means.
Right.
But that is a very specific terminology that is being used there. So think about that. Okay. Should we go on?
Yes, let's go on.
Okay. And thereupon we saw his works and praised him and lauded before him on account of all his works. For 7 great works did he create on the first day. And on the second day, he created the firmament in the midst of the waters, and the waters were divided on that day. Half of them went up above, and half of them went down below the firmament. That was in the midst over the face of the whole earth. And this was the only work God created on the second day. Okay.
So, the word firmament is interesting just because I think so many people don't fully know what that word means. So when they hear firmament, I don't know what most people think. I'd love to ask our audience, when you hear the word firmament, what was your first idea of what it meant? because it actually biblically
Right.
is the vast solid dome created by God during the Genesis
Yep.
creation. To separate the primal sea into upper and lower portions so that the dry land could appear. So it almost, when I read that, I don't know what this says about me, but I almost picture like everything was in a water bubble. It was like the earth was a sphere and it was a water bubble. And God came in and said, okay, water, you're going to have some stuff in the sky because we have clouds and all of that moisture, and there's going to be some in the earth, and then here we go, now there's dry land in the middle. I don't know why I picture it like a water bubble, but isn't 75% of our earth covered in water? So it's a lot of
Yeah.
water.
I think
Not so much land.
when you describe it that way,
Mm-hmm.
it sounds like the Hunger Games could be real.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Because there's that part where they see the
grid, uh-huh.
The grid, right? And they're like, oh, and then we find out that it's all a controlled thing. But
it's controlled. Mm-hmm.
I think basically all he's doing is controlling the water, because the water is over everything. So basically what he's doing is he's putting some barriers so that land can come between the waters, so that it's not just all water.
Correct.
Covering everything. So that's
and
I don't me, but I don't know.
Yeah, I had never really thought about it in those terms, but he does separate the two. There's now water in the skies and there's water in the earth, but we get to have the dry land, because otherwise I guess we'd be like Avatar 2 and just be water people.
Well, yeah, because gravity exists, right? And so
it does.
If you don't put
gravity exists.
If you don't bring land up,
the
gravity brings the water over everything. So the land has to come up so that in sense it controls the water because of the gravity.
Hey, I'll go along with that. And that was science according to Myrna and Jenn.
There you go. We don't have all the terminologies, and we may even have it wrong. But there you go.
Hey, we are going through. We are making this work.
The thing is we're okay to live. We're okay to live with that definition.
Yeah, we are okay with that. But that's how I visualize it. So now you know in my head what I'm seeing when I'm reading those accounts.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. Right. And on the third day, he commanded the waters to pass from off the face of the whole earth into one place, and the dry land to appear. And the waters did so as he commanded them, and they retired from off the face of the earth into one place outside of this firmament, and the dry land appeared. So one thing that just like struck me in reading that is off of the face of the whole earth into one place, and the dry land appeared, because there is a belief that originally all of the land was one mass. Yeah. And Pangea. And so it kind of fits more of what I think it's saying there, that dry land appeared out of all of the water. One big hunk of land, eventually breaking up where we have it now. But that idea that originally it was just one land kind of seems to fit here.
Yeah.
And that was the third day.
Yep, that was the third day.
So on the first day, all of the spirits go out.
Mm-hmm. What? Say that again.
I was just really quick recapping. So on the first day, it's saying all of the spirits kind of went out, and he went ahead on the second day and got the water to be divided above and below, and now dry land has appeared on the third day. So what happens on the next day?
Yeah. Well, this is actually on the same day. This is the third day.
This is still the third day. More is happening.
Yeah. And on that day, he created for them all the seas according to their separate gathering places, and all the rivers, and the gatherings of the waters, and the mountains, and on all the earth, and all the lakes, and all the dew of the earth, and the seed which is sown, and all sprouting things, and fruit-bearing trees, and trees of the wood, and the garden of Eden in Eden, and all plants after their kind. These 4 great works God created on the third day, and on the fourth day he created the sun and the moon and the stars, and set them in the firmament of the heaven, to give light upon all the earth, and to rule over the day and the night, and divide the light from the darkness.
Okay.
He's a busy little beaver.
Yeah, that was a lot, but that was a lot to do with the water. So once the dry land appeared, then it was like, oh, now we're going to have rivers and waters in the mountains and lakes and all these different things. And oh, now that the land is here, we have some sprouting things. Well, and by the way, here's the garden.
Yes, I think it's interesting that he says he actually created the Garden of Eden.
Yeah, we don't get that account in the King James Version of the Bible. Like, oh, and by the way, on this day.
I always thought that he just picked a really good place on the earth and called it Eden.
Ah.
I didn't think of him actually creating this place and calling it Eden, this specific space. I just thought, he's like, oh, this looks like a really good place to start the human race. Let's call this area Eden, and we'll put him right here. That's what I always thought. And so this is interesting that he actually thoughtfully and purposefully created the Garden of Eden.
Yeah, I like that this brings up the question, at least if nothing else. It kind of answered a question I didn't know I never had asked. Did he purposely create the Garden of Eden, or was it just, oh, here's a good spot to put them and I'll call it the Garden of Eden? So I like the idea that there was an intention and a place just created called the Garden of Eden. I like that.
Yep.
Okay. And then, of course, we now have the sun and night and day and all of that. Okay. And God appointed the sun to be a great sign on the earth for days, and for Sabbaths, and for months, and for feasts, and for years, and for Sabbaths of years, and for jubilees, and for all seasons of the years. And it divideth the light from the darkness, and for prosperity, that all things may prosper which shoot and grow on the earth. Well, because we know that plants need sunlight to grow. So, but I like that the sun is a great sign for the earth to really mark our days and all of that. It had its purpose. Yeah. It had a purpose. It didn't just randomly happen. It has a purpose for this earth. And I don't think people do think about that often enough.
No. But I also think it's interesting that he says that it's a sign on the earth for days and for Sabbaths.
Yes.
Sabbaths is different than days.
Yes.
So when our Sabbath comes, our Sunday comes, we need to make it a specifically separate day than the rest of the days of the week. It says it right here. It's not a day of the week. It is the Sabbath.
Right.
And I love that.
I do like that idea. It sets it apart with an intention. And maybe that's what I'm interesting here is this account, whether it's fully true or not, like, because it's not canon, but there feels like there's a greater intention to everything. And
Yeah.
God, as a God of design and intention, I feel is more his nature than maybe the accounts that we get.
Right. And he's organized, right? So everything
Mhm.
that has to do with the sun and the stars and all of that were created on one day, and everything that has to do with this the plants and that and the waters, he does everything that has to do with that thing
Together.
that the major thing he is creating that day. He does all of the little things also that are affected by it. Does that, am I making any sense?
Yeah, well, because on the day that he now has the land there, it says seeds are sown, but we know that it now needs the sunlight to fully grow. So then the next action is the sun. So now that the seeds which have been planted can grow. So
Right.
it is this process, step by step, that he's showing and creating of a much, a great deal of a God of order.
God of order, God of care. He's really there's a, like you said, there's an intention in the way he is putting together our earth that we will be learning and growing on. It wasn't just boom, let's just go like this and boom, there you go. This was intentionally done. He made plans, he did things. And so I'm liking the fact that this has reminded me that this is more an intentional thing.
Correct.
Okay. These three kinds he made on the fourth day, and on the fifth day he created great sea monsters in the depths of the waters. For these were the first things of flesh that were created by his hands, the fish and everything that moves in the waters, and everything that flies, the birds and all their kind. And the sun rose above them to prosper them, and above everything that was on the earth, everything that shoots out of the earth, and all fruit-bearing trees, and all flesh.
Okay.
Okay, well, I just think that when I go back, I need to discuss with him that we don't really need sea monsters. We just need sea animals, but we don't need the monsters.
Okay. Yeah.
But that means he's made my favorite animal, so we're good.
Okay, he has made yours and he's made mine too. So
yes, yeah,
we're all good there.
We're good, huh? We're all good there.
I do like their wording, great sea monsters.
Yeah, I know.
And this is something that we don't get in the King James Genesis. For these were the first things of flesh that were created by his hands.
The fish.
The fish and everything that moves in the waters and everything that flies, the birds and all their kind. So it seems to say like the sea monsters, the fish, and the birds. Sea monsters, all the other fish. My favorite animal is a crocodile, and so I think mine was built before yours, because yours is kind of a bird.
But he's a sea. He's a sea animal too.
Okay, that's true. That's true.
Yeah, because penguins are sea animals, and they're also.
But penguins are not sea monsters. Crocodiles are sea monsters.
No, they are not sea monsters.
Yes, they are. They're crocodiles can go into salt water. They have glands to get rid of the salt.
I think the crocodiles were just an afterthought. So I think they were last.
I'm sorry that my sea animal ate your sea animal. I'm sorry.
Well, he could, but that wouldn't be good. Anyway. But that's, gosh, I think it's so interesting that it says that those were the first flesh that he created by his hands. But as we know, because I know, because I read a little bit ahead, this isn't him creating all the animals. He hasn't created all the animals. These are just the animals and the birds.
And the birds so far.
It's interesting to me that he's separating the animals out.
Yes,
they have separate intentions, and so they're made at separate times in the creation. To me, that again points to his organization, his his details. Anyway, okay, go ahead. 13.
Yep. These three kinds he created on the 5th day, and on the 6th day he created all the animals of the earth, and all cattle and everything that moves on the earth. And after all this he created man. A man and a woman created he them, and gave him dominion over all that is upon the earth, and in the seas, and over everything that flies, and over beasts, and over cattle, and over everything that moves on the earth, and over the whole earth, and over all this he gave him dominion. So the 5th day we have, the sea and birds, and all the fish there, and then he created all the animals of the earth. I always find it interesting that he says fish, he says birds, sea monsters,
and then everything else,
but it's specific, and all cattle. It's always that way.
Yeah.
He specifically says cattle. I find that so just interesting, especially because there are some religions out there that see cattle or cows as evolved sacred animals.
Yeah.
It is the only one actually named, or what we would consider cattle. So I just find that interesting. When actual beasts are named, that's the only one. Unless the word cattle...
I think cattle actually just means...
Well, like...
specific group of
creatures.
Yeah.
Maybe that's what he's using. Cattle is all of the walking creatures of the time. I don't know. I just always find that interesting.
Okay. The dictionary says it's a large ruminant animals with horns and cloven hoofs. Domesticated for meat or milk or as beasts of burdens. And so cows are an example of that.
Okay. So the cloven hoof animals that will be so useful to humankind.
Yes.
Of course,
so,
he created man. He created man, a man and a woman created he them, and gave him dominion over all the earth, over everything that was just created all the days before. Man now has dominion.
Yes, and I think we need to read it that way. Just because he uses the word him doesn't mean that Eve does not have dominion over the animals also. So, because he's putting them in unison, he's putting them equal. A man and a woman, he created them. And I think he's just using the pronoun that we always use when we're just talking about a bunch of people, whether they're male or female, it doesn't matter. We use the term him. We use the male pronoun for those things.
Mankind.
Yeah. So I because this is put the way it is in that sentence, he created man. A man and a woman created he them. The way that terminology is, to me, is saying that they are equal.
Okay. So would you be bothered 100% if, because it could have then said, and gave them dominion over all that is upon the earth. Instead it said, and gave him dominion. Does that mess with your mind on things if it really was the writer saying the dominion was given to Adam?
Not really. I just,
because I think it does to a lot of people. The feminists out there, I think it messes with all the feminists out there, that they aren't a part of that the dominion over everything was given to Adam, because in the Bible there is kind of in it this submissiveness of women to men that is read into the Bible, interpreted in certain ways, whether that is true or not true. I know that there are people who have probably written really scholarly essay papers all about it. Go find some, read it, see what you think. But I'm a little like, I like that in that sentence, it is saying a man and a woman created he them and gave him dominion over all that is upon the earth. I think it could be read both ways. But when we say dominion, it's the right, it's one of the definitions is the power or right of governing and controlling, sovereign authority. So
I think
the right of governing, it's just that idea of the right of governing is that when it comes to the animals in the earth, I think that might be Adam. But when it comes to somewhat having children and raising them, I think that comes to Eve. And I think that's the bigger job. I'll say.
Well, I think you need to you look at our English. Now, this is our English.
That's true.
And when you interpret things, it's really hard, because I know another language. I know Spanish. When I take and try and interpret things from Spanish into English, or English back into Spanish,
it doesn't
because the way they are, what you're doing is really translating ideas.
Yes.
Okay. So you're not translating word by word by word.
Correct.
Okay. So if you look at this, it says he created man, comma.
Yep.
A man and a woman created he them,
comma.
So basically, those two commas in the middle of those two commas are defining
what he means by created man.
By man, right? And so then he goes on.
I can see it.
And says he gave him dominion, meaning man.
Which he just defined.
His definition of man is a man and a woman. So he goes on to explain that he gave him dominion, which is referring to the man. Which means of them. That's why I read it that way. I'm not perfect with English.
You actually stated that really well with English grammar.
Oh, good.
You actually described that really well. Yeah, I will agree with the way that is written and the sentence structure there. That is a fine way to look at it. And yet I know that there are other interpretations out there. And maybe it's just a question to the audience. What do you think? What do you think about that? Because I think for a lot of women to read that and say that it's just Adam who has dominion over it all kind of just puts a little irk in there. Like,
but that's what we do with ourselves and get ourselves into trouble all the time. We read into things. If you actually dissect it like I just did, you can't even read that concept into it, right?
Mm-hmm.
But we don't really know. That's the thing. We don't really know, because what they're doing is they're translating a concept.
Correct.
So it depends on if I knew the language and could go back and look at the actual transcript of what it said in the original written language.
Correct.
Then I would know for sure exactly what the concept was.
Correct.
That they were saying. But we have to assume that they know what they were translating, and that they were translating the correct idea. The idea being that God's definition of man is a man
and a woman. And the thing that I'm just gonna throw in here is, being a member of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, we believe that we have an actual prophet of God on earth today, and that we have apostles on the earth today that can help in some of these ideas to help clarify them if it has been not fully understood. That can come directly from God. And that brings peace of mind to me when there are certain topics that come up, that there can be a more clarified version of it. And I think God was very wise to have prophets on the earth to be able to do that.
Okay, and I'm going to throw something out here.
Uh-huh. Oh, you go, girl.
And please, if whoever ends up watching this, and I don't know how many there's going to be, but comment about this that I'm going to say right now, because I really want to hear what other people's comments are about this concept. I have been listening to and studying the Bible and the deeper meanings of the Bible. And these Bible scholars, these Bible scholars say that when God in the scriptures, when God is talking about man, he is talking about a man and a woman. In other words, a single person entity basically is not what he's talking about. He's talking about a union between a man and a woman. And there also can show, and I don't know if I'll do a video on it sometime, but where they explain that even when you use the word God actually means a man and a woman together.
Interesting.
So God is not just a man. God is a man and a woman together. So and that's from all scripture. When you read it, the scholars say that you should be reading it as a man and a woman working together is what a God is. It's not a single person. And so, although we do call God him and call him our Father, there is, and we believe this in our church, which is interesting because these Bible scholars are just coming out with all this understanding. They're finding things because they're realizing that the Deuteronomous group is the one that had taken women completely out of the scriptures, that were participating in the ceremonies, that were part of all of the different things in the scriptures, which they took mother in heaven out of the scriptures. And they're finding that now as they are going through things like these Apocrypha that have been found, the Dead Sea Scrolls, those things that have been found, they're finding that women actually were in the Bible, but they were taken out because of the way men actually thought about women. And the men were the ones that were in charge of the scriptures at the times. Right. And so the Deuteronomists were wanting to take all of the women out. They wanted to take God, they took Jesus completely out of the Old Testament, and that's why you don't find it there. Anyway, so
interesting.
I think this backs up this statement right here backs up their wording, because for God, man is a woman and a man together, and that just makes total sense to me. The more that I am learning and studying from these Bible scholars, things that they're learning now from the stuff that they found, the scriptures that they found, and stuff that's been lost.
And
anyway,
I would say that totally fits within the LDS doctrine, because we believe that the highest degree of glory is the celestial kingdom, and the highest within that kingdom, you have to have a man and woman be sealed together.
Right. And it tells me that our mother in heaven was much more involved in this creation than we thought.
Than we believe. Okay.
Or no, we thought.
Then we thought. Yes. Sorry. You were correct.
Because we believe, well, at least the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints believes she's there, right?
Yes.
But she's like there.
She's there, but
and God and Jesus Christ are over here. It's like she's there. But what we're learning through these things and other things that are being found is that I think she was
more active. She was more active in it. Okay. I like it.
Anyway, sorry, I went on a tangent.
Hey, tangents are beautiful.
So comment about that. What do you guys think?
Yeah. Okay.
We're just sharing. Let's see. Where are we at? We're on 15, right?
15. Yep. And that's you.
Okay, okay. And these 4 kinds he created on the 6th day. And there were altogether 22 kinds. Okay, what was he talking about? Was he talking about Adam and Eve?
Yeah, the cattle, the dominion over all the earth and the sea and the beasts and cattle and over all things that move on the earth.
So there were 22 kinds. So there's only 22.
I think he's saying that there are 24
types of animals.
Types of things that were 24 things or different acts created, because he says these 3 kinds he made on the 4th day. So I think in total there are 24 kinds of things created.
No, because he says, and there were altogether 22 kinds.
22 kinds.
So 20. I'm thinking that's 22. I think that's.
Yeah, 22. Sorry, I meant 22. Okay.
So was there 20 kinds of animals and 2 kinds of humans?
I don't know. I did not think I was going to have to do math, but maybe we'll put it in the notes, because I will go back over it and count.
Well, we're talking about specific. He doesn't have all the specific types of animals.
Well, no, so but
it's interesting that maybe we just started with 22 kinds of animals.
Well, it's because he does make comments on these 4 great works God created on the 3rd day. So there's 4 on that day. And I think there is a place there of then being able to count 3 kinds he made on the 4th. These 3 kinds made on the 4th day. The sun rose. So these 3 kinds on the 5th day. I think in the end it equals the 22 kinds.
Okay.
Is that including man? I do not know. I would have to count.
Okay. And he finished all his work on the 6th day. All that is in the heavens and on the earth and in the seas and in the abyss and in the light and in the darkness and in everything.
And I'll just keep going here. And he gave us a great sign, the Sabbath day, that we should work 6 days, but keep Sabbath on the 7th day from all work. and all the angels of the presence, and all the angels of sanctification, these two great classes, he hath bidden us to keep the Sabbath with him in heaven and on earth.
All right.
Which is interesting because
I
all
think
the other, it is because all the other angels over all the other things of fire and wind and stuff, they are not listed here because they continue to go no matter if it's Sabbath day or not. But the angels of,
yes.
right? So they
Ooh, I
keep
like
going.
that.
But it's the angels of the presence and all the angels of sanctification.
So
He
we
says,
don't get sanctified on Sunday.
well, and all the angels of sanctification have to obey the law of Sabbath. So Sabbath is his day of sanctification.
Well, it's the day of rest, so you can't be
Yep.
sanctifying.
Right.
Now that's interesting. I never thought of what we read before, where he said these are days and this is and they're Sabbaths, and it makes me think maybe I need to think more about what I do on the Sabbath. I mean, I need to make
I know, right?
More of a separation. That really does make me think.
I don't know why, but reading this here and just the way that we've read and stated so far, it totally makes my mind and heart think more about the Sabbath day and its sanctification.
Yeah.
I don't know why a simple thing here it can be so impactful on just, oh my gosh, this is a day literally set apart, and all the spirits and angels and stuff of the earth keep going, but sanctification, it is holiness. And even the angels are angels of the presence and angels of sanctification are required by God to obey it. I don't think of the angels as obeying the Sabbath. I don't know why until now.
Well, that makes it totally look different to me, the Sabbath, because it says here, he hath bidden us to keep the Sabbath with him in heaven and on
earth.
Mm-hmm. So when we are celebrating the Sabbath here, they are celebrating the Sabbath in heaven, and I never even thought of that.
I never even thought about that either. So all of a sudden I am thinking, like, people who have died and moved on, do they actually worship the Sabbath?
Well, heaven worships the Sabbath, so they must, if that's where they are.
I just, that blown my mind.
So we can still go to church with our family that's passed on.
We can.
Is that weird for me to think that?
No, it is not.
I just thought of that. I thought, well,
especially if you don't have a lot of family on earth, and maybe you're older, or maybe they don't believe the same faith. You can now picture yourself worshiping the Sabbath with all your other family. You're not alone in worshiping on the Sabbath.
Yeah.
You're never alone.
Wow. That's huge. I'm sorry, that is freaking huge. I think we need to stop there because that's huge. I think we need to stop there and think about it for
and we will continue Jubilee 2 into Jubilee chapter 3 because my mind is shifted now and I don't think I know what to do with that.
We need to think about that one. That is huge to my brain right now. I'm just like going, Wow, I never thought of heaven joining us
Neither did I.
on our Sabbath worships.
It's for some reason that thought just makes me look at it in a more holy aspect.
Yeah,
That
it makes
God
it more
himself,
powerful.
that God himself with the angels of heaven and all the spirits of everyone on the other side, they stop and worship on the Sabbath.
Yeah, it's much more powerful to me. It feels very powerful to hear that and rethink that in my mind right now. I can feel that power of everyone in heaven joining those of us here on earth, regardless of what religion we're in, joining us to rejoice and be thankful for our God who gave us this chance to be on earth, this chance to live and to grow and to learn. And even the other side in heaven, they are growing and learning, and they're with us, taking that day of thanking him for what they have in their life. That is powerful to me. I can't with that.
Yeah, see, the things I didn't know I would find in the Apocrypha.
Yeah, for some reason that concept never even went into my head.
See, this is the thing, is in reading some of this, I feel like so far it's brought up questions I didn't realize I wasn't asking.
Oh, yeah.
And that is the part that I always find fascinating, because I would like to ask more questions to have a deeper understanding. You don't get a deeper understanding if you only ask surface questions.
Yeah.
You have to be asking deeper and deeper questions. And this, I feel like, has busted open an idea about the Sabbath that I didn't even think to ask. And now it's just creating this, my brain going, wow, what do I need to do to change my Sabbath worship? What talks by apostles and prophets have there been in our conferences that talk about the Sabbath? Now I want to go back and maybe read some of those and really maybe take in more than maybe what I did before.
Absolutely. And it makes me feel like I need to take an evaluation of what I do.
On the Sabbath.
Sunday, on the Sabbath, and maybe make some changes, so that I can better commune and worship with the other side.
Yes. And thanking God. And in that reverence and thanking God.
Yeah, well, that just blew our minds.
Okay. We will have to finish, because
we will have to finish chapter 2. We'll have to finish chapter 2 later. But that's okay, because we have 50 chapters.
Oh, yeah. We're good to go.
We are spending time trying to dissect and understand this. There's going to be somewhere we're going to take 2, maybe 3 videos to go through them. So, and we want you to think about the words too. We want you to think about what we read and comment. And let's continue that discussion. If we find some comments that we need to talk about, even if we're further ahead in videos, we will comment on those. Even if we're in a different book. But we probably won't, because we got 50 chapters of Jubilee.
We've got a few.
We will address your comments. So please comment. Let's have this discussion. Hit the like button so we can come to you more often in your feed. And thank you so much for being with us. And we hope that you'll come back and learn some more about our Father in heaven and our Christ and the things that we need to do in our life, become closer to them and have them in our lives more. But we hope you'll have a good time until you come back to us again, and we'll see you later. Bye.
Bye.